Hey guys, it's John with ReelBlue Custom Rods, and today I'm going to go ahead and show you guys something to consider when you're working with some tinsels, like this one here, the sparkly kind of Fruit Loop looking stuff. We have some red here, it's a little bit thinner. Same thing with some gold. I've even got some blue. And then I have this product here from Rod Wrap, which is a great product. This is basically a chrome. But the reason why I wanted to do a video on these today was because when you're using things like tinsel or a chrome wrap on one of your builds, you really got to be careful when you're working with your finish because it's kind of unforgiving. If you're tying something like this in with your thread, that's okay. It won't be too big of an issue. As long as you're applying your finish properly. But when you get to things like a chrome wrap, or if you're using one of these tinsels by themselves, like I previously did on a dragon scale wrap, they can be very unforgiving from a point of view that if you are not very careful and ensure that you remove all of the bubbles from your finish, these will definitely highlight the bubbles in your finish once it's dry. The other thing that you have to consider, we all use different types of heat gun, torches. Some people even like to use lighters, which I don't recommend you use. When you're taking your alcohol torch and you're coming underneath there and you're trying to remove those bubbles, things like the chrome wrap or the tinsel can really only take so much heat. They don't take as much heat as some of your thread does. So you need to keep that in mind, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get this started. We're going to go ahead and get our dowel up here with this finish on it. Let me go ahead. So this is the dowel that I used when I did the tinsel dragon scale wrap. Looks awesome in the light there. Couple things that I personally like to do. One is I like to get a piece of foil out. Now that's going to change the screen, but what I'm going to do is basically you're going to see it here in a second. So I'm basically making kind of a foil bowl, and you guys will see why shortly. So I have my foil bowl that I'll set off to the side. All right, so aluminum foil bowl. Then, if you've been watching my videos for a while, I like to use Flex Coat, Ultra V heavy finish for most of the rods I'm working on. Every now and then I'll use some light finish. Mixing cup, and of course a brush, and one of my mixing sticks. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to go ahead and start mixing my epoxy. So first part I'm using as my part A. Now I'm going to use my part B, the hardener. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and mix this epoxy for 5 minutes. And when you're mixing it, there's a lot of ways to mix it. There's a lot of techniques to do it. There's a lot of tools you can use to help mix it for you. And there's a lot of containers you can mix it in. I choose to use plastic shot glasses like this with paper sticks. But you can use, CRB makes a device where it'll mix it for you. You just set it aside, or you can even mix it inside metal tins. There's a lot of different things you can do. But what you want to make sure you do is you don't you do not want to whisk it like you're whisking eggs, right? You just want to slowly mix it and try to put as few bubbles in it as possible. And again, I'm going to do this for 5 minutes, just slowly mixing it, being as gentle as I can be, ensuring that I'm not putting any air into this, because again, you know, I don't want to have any bubbles, or I want to have as few bubbles as possible. Okay, so I want to remove this dowel real quick, just to show you a couple things. So you can see how I've been mixing this around real slowly, trying to get as few bubbles as possible inside this mixture. All right, and even when I get a few, and I think I'm doing pretty good, but even if I did get a few in there, I could come back with a piece of foil like this and pour my finish. And I'm not going to do all of it, I'm just do some of it. But pour my finish into this piece of foil, and the chemical reaction with my finish and the tin foil will help reduce the bubbles. And I could also come back a little bit with a heat gun right here on that finish, and that will also help remove any, it does two things. It'll help remove any bubbles from your finish, and it will also loosen up your or extend your working life a little bit. So if your finish is, you've got a large project and your finish is starting to kind of cure a little bit, if you have it in something like this tin foil, you can hit it with a little bit of heat from the heat gun, and that will kind of soften it up a little bit for you. So what we're going to do is, now I'm going to take this foil, or excuse me, this finish, and I'm just going to go ahead and start applying this to this wrap. And I'm doing it by hand, and then I will move it over to the dryer. I just want to show you how you can do this. Again, I'm taking it right out of the foil with my brush. You know, no bubbles. And I'm just turning it with my hand, again, doing this by hand. And then once I have it how I like it, of course, it'll go on the power dryer. But I'm just moving it around, taking the epoxy or your finish from the foil, because that's helping me, you know, that chemical reaction is helping remove any of these bubbles, because I don't want any bubbles in my finish. And of course, you can do this even if you're doing a thread wrap, you know, and you're having problems getting rid of bubbles. This is a great technique to help get rid of those. And I'm going to pretty much using all that I've got inside this tin foil. Now let me go ahead . I'm just adding the rest of my finish to the tin foil. Okay. And so I just turn my rod a little bit by hand. And that reaction again with between your finish and the tin foil will go ahead and help remove that any of those existing bubbles for you. Just coming back on this little bit of thread right here that I put on this end, where I showed you guys how to tie off tinsel work. Now I'm just moving all this finish around. I'm going to come back over here on the end a little bit. Just move this all around. All right. So I've got my finish on my tinsel work, right? All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. Now I'm going to come back with a little heat. Yep, so I got my fire going. All right, now I'm just taking my heat, going back and forth. And just rotating to help make sure I get any bubbles that got in there, I'm just getting them out. All right, and that's enough. Cap off my torch and keep it rotating. And then all I'm going to do is go ahead and move that over to my power dryer and just let that turn until it dries. So I hope this helps. Give you a little pro tip about using the tin foil if you did not already know to use that. And then, a key, making sure you have all your bubbles out of your finish before you apply it to things like Tinsel or Pro Wrap or Chrome Wrap, stuff like that. And then when you're applying your heat, you can apply heat to it. Just don't apply too much heat for too long, because it will, melt back or ruin the tinsel or the chrome wrap below it. So again, I hope this helps. Hit the like button if you got something out of the video. Feel free to share it with somebody you think may find it value. And then if you're not yet a member or you're not yet subscribed to my channel, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way you notice when I release videos twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays. So again, hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting ReelBlue Custom Rods. And until next time.